Washington landed a talented O-line commit, 3-star Jack Shaffer.
You are Locked On Huskies, your daily podcast on the Washington Huskies, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back into another edition of the Locked On Huskies podcast. I'm Roman Tomashoff. That's Lars Hanson. He's site editor of Athlon Sports Inside the Huskies. I'm the site editor with Huskies Wire. Thank you for making this your first watch or first listen of the days. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Lars, we got a fun little bonus show coming at the end of the day today. We're going to be talking offensive line. I know that's everybody's favorite discussion now that Washington is part of the Big Ten, because the Huskies got a commitment late Tuesday night in 3-star Jack Shaffer, who flipped from Iowa State to Washington. And Lars, you turn on the tape, and the one thing you can say about this dude is brute strength in the run game. I love this kid's film.
And I think, especially when you talk about linemen and offensive tackles in the Big Ten, what do you need to do? And, whether it's this season, next season, 28 or whatever, you need to be able to run the ball. And so having good, strong offensive linemen to do that. And that's the thing. When we get into, in the second segment, how this impacts the rest of the class, you just take good dudes. Like if you can flip a kid from Iowa State, like this, that's the one thing that stands out to me. It's like you're flipping a kid from Iowa State, like mid-season. So like that means he's gone to see what he wants on film. And right. he said it in his commitment note, at like 9:30 at night. Shout out to Jack for that. But when he's like 2 or 3 hours after he did it on Instagram, which is just a shot. But again, it's like a true, like that's when you know you're getting a good lineman, is when he doesn't care how his commitment is done. He just puts it in a note. Like it's like, I'm about brute force on the field and pancaking people and all that sort of stuff. Right. I don't care about like how it comes out. I want it to be the one that comes through me. So I'll put it on Instagram, share it like that, and social media. But that's a good aid this day and age of offensive line, where I care about social media enough because obviously people are going to know about me. So I'm worthy of being known about and talked about and followed. But I'm not that big of a guy on communicating. I just like to go show my thing on my field. But I might as well tell people, by the way, I'm now going to Washington because I can get better coaching there. I can reach basically what he said, if you read between the lines. He said, I feel I can fulfill my goals and things in football better at Washington, is basically what he said.
Right. So I feel like one of the things that that we certainly need to talk about when it comes to, I feel like he's a little overlooked, where he's ranked as the number 40 offensive tackle in the country right now by 247 Sports. And it still feels like he's slightly underrated and he only has 7 offers, including Washington. But he's got some really talented ones. Some really good offers. Iowa State being one, Duke's in there, Kansas State's another good program, and then Wisconsin as well, where this is a guy who is super talented. I love watching his film, where when I watch him, it's, obviously it is what it is in terms of pass blocking, where that's not what you're looking for, where, if you have a kid who's an elite pass blocker, he's going to be a top 100 recruit. It's going to end up looking like Caden Proctor or somebody like that. But when I watch him and I watch him against the run, I just say, oh yeah, like I understand why he might be a little overlooked still, where he's really, really strong. His team loves running behind him, and they're willing to do a whole lot of different things with him. He mainly plays right tackle, which feels like a nice place for him to sit, coming into college, where you've got guys like Zac Stascausky, who we'll get into, that plays left tackle. I feel like Lowen Colman-Brusa could do that. And of course, we talk about the 24 guys as well with Justin Hilkema, where Jack really rounds out this offensive line class in a very nice way. And everything about him, it's 6'6", 315. This is a dude who just, I can't say it enough, just absolutely mauls people in the run game. And when you look at what that can turn into at the college level, Lars, you said it yourself, this is exactly what you're looking for in a Big Ten tackle. We've got more on Jack, but we're going to take a quick break, because we got to send a message to our good friends over at Game Time, because Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets, which is great if you're looking to go watch the Huskies in their first ever Big Ten game this Saturday against Northwestern. You can find some fantastic deals on Game Time, because with Game Time Picks, curation makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and so much more. You got all-in pricing, where when you toggle this feature, it shows the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. And with their seat views, you can get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. You can take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKDOWNCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. So, Lars, a little more on Jack. It's a bummer, but he's going to be out for the rest of the season this year. So junior film is really what we're going to have to look at with him. But our guy Ben Glassmeyer pointed it out. He's done some really, really nice work so far, during his junior year. And this is a guy who I'm just really excited to see on campus. If he wants to enroll early and maybe, take advantage of college facilities to help with his rehab, I feel like that might be a smart choice for him. But I'm just really excited with this kid, man, because he really gives you just a second true tackle body in this class.
Yeah, it's one thing you said when Washington was in the Pac-12. If you're an offensive lineman and you have an offer from Utah, you're a dude. Like I don't care whether you're a 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, 5-star, whatever your ranking is. If you have a legitimate offer from Utah, you're a dude when you're an offensive lineman. I think now in the Big Ten, Wisconsin is now the Utah of that equation.
Yes, I agree.
If you have an offer from Washington or Wisconsin and you're an offensive lineman, cool. I don't care what you say. You can be committed to, North Texas. If somehow you have an offer from Wisconsin and didn't choose that offer, like I don't care. Like that's your dude. And I think that's the other side of this equation where we've seen guys rotate between guard and tackle or tackle and tackle. We saw Max go to right tackle at some point in fall camp. We saw Drew briefly for like 5 plays go to left tackle during the Weber State or Eastern Michigan game. I can't remember which one it was. But, so there's some position flexibility in that regard. But you're also still, as you mentioned, you're talking about depth. Whether Lowen ends up playing tackle or guard, it's better to just know for a fact, hey, you know what? We like the 4 we have, but let's get us a true second tackle besides Stascausky to say, if Zach's our left, you're our right. Jake, you can play guard, center, whichever one. I know he plays tackle technically, but like projects more as a guard, potentially even an emergency center because he told me he has that ability. And so you look at the class in totality and you think it's a complete class. This is now good. You have 2 solid players that you can look at tackle. You got some options on the interior that can play on both sides or play outside, like in Lowen's case.
Right. So
I think it's a good class in terms of whether they look in the portal or not, who knows? Maybe for just like one extra veteran, but I don't think they will. And I think that's why you take Schaefer. Whether, to your point, I kind of wrote that in my story where I haven't been able to confirm whether he enrolls in January, March, or June. I would bet it's one of the first 2, especially given he's shutting down his senior season. I would just, to me, at the very latest, I can see March, where he comes in from spring ball and is able to be fully rehabbed from his hip injury. You call it a day with that. And I think that, we've seen from Pocky versus Hilkema. Like, I think if Hilkema enrolled, and this is no shot at Hilkema, to be clear, but I'm just saying, if he enrolled in January or March, I think he would be further advanced, similar to how Pocky is. I'm not saying that they were equal in terms of talent, but I'm just saying I think that edge really does come into play as a freshman.
So I certainly hear what you're saying. And one thing that I really like about this class that Brennan Carroll did a really good job of is building just an entire offensive line, really, which I think is a great way to go about building class, where you look at it, you've got, I got a tackle in Zac Stascausky and a tackle in Jack Shaffer, as you said. Whichever one wants to play on which side, figure it out later. You got 2 really, really solid guards in Lowen Colman-Brusa, in, Champ Taulealea. Obviously, Jake Flores can play guard, but as you said, he can also play center. So if you want one of those guys there as well, awesome, you can make it work. So building out an entire class is really, it was a good thing that Scott Huff used to do, right? Where you think about his best class ever in 2020. You found a way to build an entire offensive line with that class. And did it work out that way? No, but that's recruiting. That's part of college football. It's never all going to work out where, all the 2025 guys are going to be starting from left tackle to right tackle in 2027. If it works out that way, great. If not, it doesn't matter. It's about building that depth and having that. And Lars, with that being said, Brennan Carroll did a really good job with his first O-line class, which we'll get to right after a message from our friends over at Roy. Hey, Husky fans, have you heard about Roy? It stands for Return on You, and it's a new platform that lets you, the fans, get involved in NIL like never before by making contributions directly to your favorite athletes. By supporting players directly, you can help shape rosters, retain talent, and keep your favorite athletes out of the transfer portal. As you all know, NIL has changed the game for athletes, and Roy has changed the NIL game for fans because it can help engage with athletes on their NIL journey. By using Roy, fans not only support athletes financially, but also become part of their name, image, and likeness journey, helping them succeed both on and off the field. You can download Roy for iOS or Android and enter referral code LOCKEDON, and you'll automatically be entered in a sweepstakes to win $5,000 cash. Visit joinroy.com for additional details. No purchase necessary. Void Where Prohibited. You can get the Roy app for iOS or Android and start making an impact on your favorite team. Use referral code LOCKDOWN for an opportunity to win $5,000 cash. Visit Join Roy for more details. No purchase necessary. Void Where Prohibited. Get off the sidelines and into the NIL game with Roy. Lars, one thing we haven't really gotten to talk about with this offensive line class is just how solid it's become. Where this is now the second flip where you count Zac Stascausky, who's originally committed to Minnesota, and then you had a top end name right off the bat in Champ Taulealea. That's really great. And then now Zac is another 4-star prospect where he got that upgrade about a week ago. And then behind that now, Jack is only a couple spots behind him in terms of the 247 sports rankings. I don't necessarily think that because of this hip injury that he's going to get a 4-star bump by signing day, but knowing that he's right there in terms of talent, it's a really good sign. And then you have two really exciting, high upside, super athletic guys and Jake Flores and Lowen Colman-Brusa to round out this class. And all of a sudden, fans were super concerned in May and June saying, where's the offensive line depth? Where's that coming with this class? And now all of a sudden, this is a really strong class, and I'm really happy with the way this has turned out.
Exactly. And the other thing you have to consider for the guys that they're going to be coming in with, they're also relatively young. So they're all going to, I think, get a lot of shot. And I think that's the important thing to consider when you have 5 offensive linemen is you don't want to preclude the guys from the roster and saying, oh, well, we really like what Elisha could do, or we really like what, so-and-so can do, whatever, because I'm not trying to single out any player, but I'm just saying, like, the younger guys that are here, it's like nobody's really earned a spot next year. The only one you were really, focused on is Demond, Adam Muhammad, and Audric Harris, because those are the only 3 freshmen that have played, and Pocky. So those are the only 4 freshmen on offense that have truly, said, hey, like, we're going to be one of the guys in the future. When it comes to the offensive line, there's nobody really in that regard. Landon is in a separate category, to be clear, not a freshman, but he's younger, so I understand that. And I think that's why when you look at this class, it doesn't have a true center because you have Landon for at least 2 or 3 more years.
Right.
So in that regard, you don't necessarily need to go out and get a 4-star center, but that's why you get Jake Flores, who can, and he was the first one to come in this class. So he's a guy who can kind of do everything. You kind of need those guys in a class where the fact that he was the first wasn't an indicator of, oh, great, it's going to be 3-star U. We're going to get a bunch of guys that, they wanted Arizona, but nobody else really wanted. No, those are the guys that actually 3 or 4 years into the program end up playing 30, 40, 50 games. Whether they're not starting all those games, they're playing significant roles as backups or starters.
But something else on top of that, that you mentioned when we were talking about Jack a little bit earlier and his offer list is you look at that Wisconsin offer and you say, oh yeah, no, I don't care. This dude can definitely play. If Wisconsin liked their evaluation of him and wanted to offer him a scholarship, that's fine with me. Look at Jake's offer list. Florida State, Michigan. He's got a whole lot of big time offers all up and down there. And so, how hard they were pursuing him, different conversation. We don't know that. Lars, you have a relationship with him. I'm sure we'll try to get him on the show at some point. But with all of these guys where you look at the talent evaluation from top to bottom, Champ Taulealea, fantastic eval. That dude can, like, honestly, if he ends up earning his red shirt in 2025, is it the best idea? Different conversation. Does he look like he can do it? Yeah, absolutely. You look at that body type and you say, oh, okay, yeah, dude, if they need that dude to play 7 games, he can play 7 games. But on top of that, it's with Zac, it's okay, here's a high upside projectable tackle. With Jack, here's another high upside projectable tackle. And then that's what a lot of this is. And you look at the guys in front of him, what are you going to lose? 2, 3 bodies on the offensive line, maybe, where D'Angelo can come back if he wants to. Enoch's out of eligibility. Guard can come back for another year if he wants to. Drew has a couple more years of eligibility, but if he has a really strong season, that's certainly something he might mull. And, all of a sudden you're looking at rebuilding a decent part of the line either way. So getting as many high upside young bodies as you can in there is a really nice thing. As you said, they take somebody from the transfer portal, great. If not, we'll see. There are certainly ways to build out this line, especially with Pocky, as he has played a little bit already this year, and they're certainly very, very happy with his projection. And we certainly didn't omit him for any reason. But Michael Watkins is another guy where they really like him, and that's another guy who certainly has the ability to play a lot moving forward. And Lars, we're going to be talking so much more about this offensive line class throughout the week, but we're going to jump out of here for today because this is just a little bonus show for all the everydayers. And, you know, if you like the bonus show, we got so much more stuff coming on the recruiting trail. Make sure you turn into our Thursday show. We'll be talking some recruiting because there's so much going on right now. And please, to make sure you're up to date on all the latest with these special little shows like this, make sure you subscribe wherever you get your podcast. So that's YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music. We're there. We're everywhere. We're updating this channel with new content every single day. So make sure you hit that like button, click that little bell so you never miss when we post a new video. You got any questions, comments, concerns, drop them right down below in the comments section. And if you're audio only, please leave us a 5-star review. It does help us out a lot. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll talk to you on Thursday.